Good morning, children. Let us continue with the lesson that is living organisms, characteristics, and habitats. So, in the previous, since 2 days, we are with the same lesson, continuing the same lesson. So, we have studied about what are living organisms. Organisms means what are organisms? Living creatures that live on every part of the earth. Then we have studied about the environment. What is environment? Everything that we see surrounding us, both living as well as the non-living things. Okay. Then we have studied about biotic and abiotic components. So biotic components are the living components of the ecosystem, that is flora and fauna. Abiotic components, the non-living components of the ecosystem like soil, air, water are the abiotic components. So now today we are going to start with the characteristics of living organisms. Till now we have studied only the habitat, adaptation, how the organisms are adapted or what is the habitat and all. Now what are the characteristics of the living organisms? Organisms means living creature, I said you. So living beings are made up of what? Cells. Everyone knows. Every day so many cells are produced in our body and we are multicellular organisms. There are both unicellular as well as multicellular organisms, but we human beings are multicellular organisms because we have many cells in our body. Then living beings obtain and use energy. Yeah, what we need, living beings? We need energy. So how we are going to get this energy? We get the energy from the food we eat. Then the next point is living beings grow and develop. The next point is we'll discuss all these points in the detail. This is only the what characteristics we are going to study. So living beings grow and they develop. Then living beings reproduce. Then the last one is living beings adapt to their environment. Then living beings respond to stimulus. Living beings excrete. All this one by one we'll see all the characteristics in detail. Now the first what we are going to discuss is about the nutrition. Nutrition means what? The food which we eat, which gives us nutrition, which will help our body to do the work. Nutritious food. We eat food every day, but what must be present in that? Nutrients must be present. So what are nutrients? Nutrients means carbohydrates, proteins, vitamins, minerals, fats, lipid, oil, everything. So all these things must be included in our food. Then before that, let me tell you the characteristics of living organisms. So now in this lesson we have gone through the different habitats and discussed about many plants and animals. In the activity 1, which we had listed that what are the objects which are found in the forest. So what did you all tell? You said plants, animals, then leaves, dead leaves, many objects we see in the forest. So suppose if we stop for a while and think among those which are living and which are non-living things. So already we listed so many plants, animals, objects and all. So in that now which are living and which are non-living, you should know it. So now what we read in the forest, we see trees, creepers, small and big animals, then birds, then we see the snakes, then we see insects, we see the rocks, we see the pebbles, then soil, water, then dry leaves. Sometimes we see the dead animals also there, mushrooms and moss. So all these things are present in the forest. As we walk in the forest, we can see all these things. Now these things you have to separate it out into which are living and which are non-living. So now how to know which is a living and which is a non-living thing? This you are studying from your lower classes. What is living and what is non-living. So now when you tell, easily we can tell which are non-living in this, isn't it? Soil, water, then stick. All these are called as non-living. Now for example, we know that chair and table, when you say, immediately you tell they are non-living. Why do you tell non-living? Because they are not alive. Then chair, table, stone, coin, all these things what you see, these are not alive. So what you tell, those things which don't have life, they are called as non-living things. Okay, and those which have life in them, they are called as non-living things. So biotic and abiotic components we had read. So what are biotic now again? All the living components, that is plants, animals, insects, all these are called as the living things. Why? Because they have life in them, they are alive. And those which do not have life in them, they are called as the non-living things. So now often it is not very easy for us to decide that the plants are living. How can we tell? Though we cannot see how can we tell that the plants are living? How to know plants are living or anything is living? What is the characteristic? How to know it? So now let us study about it. So a car or a bus also will move. Can we tell that this is a living thing? But still we don't tell it is a living thing. What do we tell? We tell it is a non-living thing. Then plants and animals appear to grow in size with the time. So we see the plants and animals. As the time goes, we see the increase in the size of the plant, increasing size in the plants as well as in the animals. Isn't it? Then does it mean that all these are living things? How to distinguish between living and non-living things? So in living things, when we tell they are living things, they have some common characteristic that will make them different from the non-living. So here I told you starting only. So these are the characteristics of the living things. So first one is, what characteristic we are going to study? We are going to study about the nutrition. Nutrition means nothing. It is a food. So in your last chapter also, in the first and second chapter of the first semester, you have studied about living and food, isn't it? What is food? Food is nothing which is a substance which is necessary for all the living organisms to survive. So without food we cannot live at all. All animals, plants, human beings, all the living creatures on the earth need the food, and for everyone the food is available in one or the other way. Then the next one is, though we human beings get the ready-made food, isn't it? Animals, what they do? They eat the other animals as well as the plants. Then how the plants will get the food? So plants, what they do? They prepare their own food. Already you know, plants prepare their own food. In the last class I have told you how they prepare the food, by the process of photosynthesis. So what is photosynthesis? The process by which plants prepare their own food using the carbon dioxide, water and sunlight, isn't it? So like this they prepare their own food and they grow. Then we human beings eat the food, we get the energy, then we also will grow. Then food will give the organisms the energy needed them to grow. Then organisms also need energy for what? For their life process. For their life process, to continue their life. So I told you, food what we eat is not sufficient. In that nutrients must be present. So what is nutrition? Means the food which contains all the nutrition which will give energy for us to do the work. That type of food is called as nutritious food, or that is called as the nutrition. So even plants need the nutrition, even animals need all the living organisms need the nutrition. So now what is nutrition? Let us see here. Can you see in the picture here? All these are the fruits, fruits as well as the vegetables by which we get the nutrition. So the process by which animals obtain food and utilize it for all the activities is called as nutrition. Now you may get this question like this: what is nutrition? So now what you are going to write, or what you are going to define what is nutrition? The process by which animals obtain food and utilize it for all the activities is called as nutrition. Every organism requires nutrition for obtaining energy. So I said you, all the organisms, living organisms, for what they require food? For getting the energy. So if you skip any one day the food, what happens? You don't concentrate on your studies. You don't feel like doing any work. So food will give you the energy to do the work, to study, everything. We get the energy by the food we eat. The next characteristics of the living organisms is growth. For this you might have seen yourself, isn't it? Or you can see your brothers if you have at home. When they are born, how they are very small, isn't it? Very, very small. Then as the days pass, after 1 year you see they'll be able to walk. After 2 years they'll be able to talk. And within the 3 years they are able to go to the school. Like this you can see the stages of the growth. So a baby will grow into an adult. So here growth, now you can take the example. Now supposing you are wearing the uniform, isn't it? Uniform you are wearing every day to school. So when you wear, now last year's uniform, now you wear and see it. Will it fit for you? How do you feel? It feels tight. So this shows that you are growing. You don't, as soon as you see yourself, you can't tell you are growing. But you can see the things. Now supposing shoes, school shoes also you see. Every year you will buy the new shoes, isn't it? What happens? You are growing. So your legs also will start growing. Your body, whole body, there will be the changes. Your weight may increase, like that. So all organisms grow and exhibit growth in different ways. Their body cells divide and grow, and thus overall growth is attended. So like this. So first you are a small baby, you feed, you eat only, you drink only the milk. Then they start giving them little bit of semi-solid type of food, only liquid, then semi-solid, then completely the food will be given to eat. So like this growth takes place by eating the food also. It is not that growth takes place only in the human beings, but also the growth will take place in the animals also, as well as in the plants also. Now you see, plants you might have seen, as soon as you take the seeds and sow it, what happens? It takes at least 3 to 4 days for the plant to come out. Then only you can see only the leaves and the stem coming out. Then later on what happens? Then it will grow little bit. So like this completely the plant will be grown. Then that plant will grow into the tree. Like that growth takes place in the plants also. You might have seen this thing, hen, isn't it? How this will grow? First there will be chickens, small chickens will be there. Either it may be hen or it may be a egg. Then that later on when it will grow, that chick will grow up, it will completely grow as a hen or as a cock. So this is by the eggs. So a chick hatched from an egg grows into a hen or a cock. And also the plants also will grow. How the plants will grow? A few plants of the particular type, some are small and young, some are bigger, I told you. They are all different in the different stages of growth. So growth seems to be common in all the living organisms. But do you think the non-living organisms will grow? No. Only the living organisms will grow, and only the living organisms need the food to get the energy to do the work, not the non-living things. So here this is a difference between living and the non-living. So 2 points we have read, that is, one is food, that is nutrition, and the another one is growth. So here both these characteristics are of living beings, not of the non-living beings. Now next let us continue with the respiration. This is very important. This is also the very important characteristics of all the living organisms. Can we live without, can you think life without breathing? What happens when the breathing stops? Breathing stops means we are not alive, we are dead. So day and night we respire, we take in air. Continuously we will be breathing. So what happens when we inhale air? Moves from outside to inside our body. So we take the air in and out. This is inhaling. Exhaling means we take the air from outside and exhale the air from inside our body. So when we breathe out, the air moves from inside our body to outside. So breathing is a part of the process called as the respiration. In respiration, some of the oxygen of the air we breathe in is used by our body. We breathe out carbon dioxide produced in this process. So, respiration is necessary for all living organism, and it is through respiration that the body finally obtains energy from the food it takes. So, not only food is necessary for our body, even the air or the respiration. So energy, the food we take not only from there but also from the air. Some animals may have different mechanism for exchange of gases, which is the part of the respiration process. So there is a different way of exchanging the gases. Now in human beings we have lungs through which we respire, isn't it? Gases, exchange of gases will take place. So different animals will have different mechanism for the exchange of gases. For example, earthworm will breathe through their skin. So earthworm, what is the respiratory organ? Through the skin. You might have seen the earthworm, isn't it? Then fish, it has a gills for using the oxygen dissolved in water. So gills are the respiratory organs of the fish. Then we had studied about this thing, whale and dolphin yesterday. So how they will take in the air? Through the blow holes. We had studied, no? It has blow holes through which exchange of gases, or they respire through those holes. In humans, we respire in oxygen, breathing out carbon dioxide. So we humans, what we do? We take in oxygen and give out carbon dioxide. This is the difference between human beings and the plants. So plants, what they do? They take in carbon dioxide and give out the oxygen. But in humans, we breathe in oxygen, giving out the carbon dioxide. Then the process of breathing in animals, like you might have seen the cows, buffaloes, dogs or cats. They also will respire like how we human beings respire. They also breathe in oxygen and give out the carbon dioxide. Now you might have seen some of the animals taking rest, isn't it? So you might have seen when they take rest, you can see only the movement of the abdomen. That means what? It indicates that they are slow movement is there in their breathing. Even we human beings, you see, when we are not sleeping, our breathing rate will be more, and when we are sleeping, breathing rate will be a bit less. Respiration. Now respiration is necessary for all the living organisms, and already we have learned it is through respiration that the body finally obtains energy from the food it takes. Then we have studied about how the earthworm respires. The respiratory organ of the earthworm is skin. Then we have learnt about the fish. Which is the respiratory organ? Gills. Then how the plants will respire. Now we have studied about the animals as well as the human beings. Now the next living thing is plants. So how the plants will respire. Now here plants also respire. Here also exchange of gases in plants also will take place in the leaves. You might have studied in the last chapters in the same class, in the previous chapters in the first semester you have studied leaves. Through the leaves, the exchange of gases will take place. How the leaves will take in the air? Through the tiny pores. They will have the pores through which the air will enter and use the oxygen, and they give out carbon dioxide to the air. I told already. They take in oxygen and give out the carbon dioxide to the air. So we have learnt that sunlight, plants will use the sunlight as well as the carbon dioxide to produce the food, and they give out the oxygen. So the amount of oxygen released in this process of food, preparation by the plants is much more than the oxygen they use in respiration. So respiration in plant takes place day and night in the plants. So how the respiration takes place in the plants? Both in the day as well as in the night. So I told you already, plants will prepare their own food, isn't it? How they'll prepare? By using the sunlight and the carbon dioxide. During this process they give out the oxygen, which is used by the human beings to respire. Now the next point is response to stimulus. The next living characteristics of the living organism is response to stimulus. Now respiration also, only living beings can respire. Non-livings do not respire. This is also absent in non-living things. So now, do all the organisms respond to stimuli? Yeah. We human beings, you see, suddenly when we touch hot iron or anything, what do? You immediately remove your hand, isn't it? That is, it has reached your brain. You know that it is hot. So immediately you remove the hand from the iron. How do you respond if you suddenly step on a sharp object like a thorn, or while walking barefoot in the hot sun? So how do you, sometimes the thorn also will stick in when you are walking barefoot. What happens? The thorn will enter into your foot. So how do you react? Immediately you tell, no, isn't it? That is called the response to stimulus. How do you feel when you see or think about your favorite food? What happens when your favorite food is being cooked? Your mouth starts watering, isn't it? You'll be eagerly waiting when to eat it, isn't it? That is called as the response to stimuli. When it is very hot, do you stand in the hot itself? No. What we do? We immediately move to the shady place. We cannot stand for a long time in the hot sun. Now suddenly when current is gone and suddenly when the current is come again, how do you feel your eyes? You might have seen. Suddenly when you come from the dark into the light, what happens? Can you see like how you are seeing normally? No. Your eyes will start blinking for some time, isn't it? You cannot see clearly. Then after a little while, when you get adjusted, you can open your eyes clearly and you can see the everything clearly. So these are the few examples of response to stimuli. Now all this I told you, your favorite food, bright light and a thorn. In all these situations, these are the changes in our surroundings. And all of us, for all these things, we respond immediately. So changes in our surroundings that makes us respond to them, that is called as the stimuli. What is stimuli? Changes in our surroundings that makes us respond to them are called as stimuli. So now this we have studied about only the human beings. Now what about the animals? Do they also respond to stimuli? Because they are also one of the living organisms, isn't it? All human beings, plants as well as animals, insects, all these are the living organisms. Now we have studied only all this response to stimuli about the human beings. Now let us study about the animals. Do the animals also respond to stimuli? So let us see the behavior of the animals. Now you might have seen in your home and all, for the cat or else dog, anything you see, just when you show the food, how they'll be behind you, they'll be coming, running. When they are very hungry, they'll start shouting, do some actions through which will come to know that the animal is hungry, like that. So what happens when the food is served to them? You see them actively seeing the food and coming behind you. So when you move towards a bird, what does it do? That also will come. And then birds also you see. Sometimes when you keep the grains in your home, So every day it comes and sits where the grains are being kept. It eats the grains and again it flies away. So here like this, animals also can respond to stimuli. Wild animals will run away when the bright light is flashed towards them. So how the wild animals will show the response? So when bright light is flashed towards them, they also show the response to stimuli. Then you might have seen in your home cockroaches. So when it is dark, no, they'll be moving in the kitchen here and there. And suddenly when in the night to drink water and all, when you get up, when you on the light, you can see so many cockroaches. But as soon as they see the light, they will hide themselves. They won't come out. Then some more examples for this can you give me? Not only cockroaches, even this thing, rat you might have seen. When the light is off, no, it will come out, it will be jumping from here to there, all this. So when you off the light, switch off the light, it will be playing. When you switch on, it will go and hide. So like this, even the plants also, the animals also will show the response to stimuli. Now the next one is about the plants. How the plants will show the response to stimuli. Now you might have seen the flowers of some plants which will bloom only in the night. So there are some plants which will bloom only in the night. So in some plants, flowers close after the sunset. So as soon as the sun sets, again they will close off. So in some plants like mimosa, commonly known as touch-me-not, you might have seen the touch-me-not plants, leaves will close or fold when someone touches to it. These are the examples of responses of the plants towards the changes in their surroundings. So all human beings, animals, as well as the plants will show the response to stimuli. But the non-living things will not show any response to their stimuli. Anything happens, there is no responsibility. Chair, table, all these things you see. You will be moving from here to there to here. Do they do anything? Nothing. We have to move it. They are non-living. Till we make them move, they won't move from their place. Isn't it? Now the next characteristic what we are going to study about the living organisms is excretion. So now what is excretion? So now this is one of the characteristics of the living organisms. So here all the living things will take food. Already we have discussed in the first point, all living organisms or living things will take the food. Not all the food that is eaten is really used. Only the part of it is utilized by our body. So whatever food we are taking every day, we eat 3 to 4 times, isn't it? So all that food is not utilized by our body. Only the food which is important, in which I told you nutrients are present, or whatever carbohydrates, proteins, what is required by our body, the food which we eat, in that only part of it is taken, and the other whatever is waste is thrown out of our body. So unused or remaining food becomes waste and needs to be excreted. So whatever food every day, isn't it? Nature's call, you attend it, isn't it? What happens if you don't attend for the one day? You don't feel like eating, your stomach will be upset, you don't feel like doing any work, like that. So whatever is remaining food is there, waste in our body, it has to be excreted. Our body also produces some waste like urea in other life processes. So our body, what waste it produces? Urea. Then living organisms get rid of all this waste material, and the process is known as excretion. So what is excretion? Removal of the waste products from our body is called as excretion. Or the other definition is living organisms get rid of all the waste material, and the process is known as excretion. So we have read that all organisms need food, isn't it? And already we know all the food is eaten is not completely used. Only the part of it is used by the body. Then what happens to the rest of the food? So this has to be removed from our body as the waste. And our body produces some waste in the other life processes also. So the process of getting rid of the waste by the organisms is known as excretion. This is about the excretion in the human beings or the animals. Now let us see how the plants also excrete. So do plants also excrete? They do. So even the plant, though they are living beings, like how they do all the things, that is, they need food, they need respiration, they need nutrition, they need what we have studied, response to stimuli. Now the excretion also, even the plants, all the living organisms need to excrete also. But the mechanism in plants is little different from the animals. So some plants find it possible to store the waste products within the parts in the way that they are not harm the plant as a whole. So plants, there is no need for them to excrete. They'll store those waste products within their parts so that it will not harm the plant or anything as a whole. Then some plants will remove the waste products as their secretions. So how it is removed in the plants? Through the secretions. Excretion is another characteristic common into all the organisms. So what is excretion? This is also another characteristic which is common to all the organisms. So now here we have studied the excretion about the living organisms, that is plants, animals, as well as the human beings. So now the remaining other characteristics I will continue in the next class. Okay, now what all we have studied today? Today we have studied about the characteristics of the organisms, that is the characteristics of the living and the non-living organisms. What is the difference between living and non-living? How do we tell whether it is a living or it is not living? So those organisms in which there is life or they are alive, they are called as living organisms, I told you. And those in which there is no life, they are called as non-living organisms. So let us recall, no, one activity is there first, then we can recall. So here, yesterday also I gave you one activity, now there is another activity. So I think this is the fourth activity. In the first activity I had done in the class itself, that is the animals, plants and the other objects found in the different surroundings. That was the table what we have completed. Then another one I had given you about the germination. That is, you have to collect some dry moong seeds, keep 20 to 30 seeds aside and soak the rest in the water for a day. Divide the soaked seeds into 4 parts. Keep one part completely submerged in water for 3 to 4 days. Do not disturb the dry seeds and those submerged in water. Keep one part of the soaked seeds in a sunny room and another in a completely dark region like the cupboard that does not allow any light to come in. Keep the last part in the very cold surroundings, that is in the refrigerator or with the ice around them. Rinse them and replace the water every day, I had told you. What do you notice? You have to observe this. So what do you notice? After a few days, do the seeds in all the 5 conditions will germinate uniformly? Do you find slower or no germination in any of these? So children, if you have not done, please do it. This activity also. This was the second activity. Then yesterday I had given you the third activity, which you have to do it. I think almost many have done and written your observation. I'll tell you to write. What was yesterday's activity? Bring a potted cactus and a leafy plant. Instead of bringing to the classroom, I had told you in the home only. Then tie the polythene bags to some parts of the 2 plants. Then where we have studied about the transmission in plant. So you have to leave the potted plants in the sun and observe after a few hours. So what you see here, do you notice any difference in the amount of water collected in the 2 polythene bags? This was the activity which was given yesterday. So now there is another activity which I will be giving you today. You can do it. Now today's activity, what you have to do is, let me tell you. So these activities are very small, what you can do at home and observe it. So children, please do these activities. So activity number 4 is place a potted plant in a room a little away from the window through which sunlight enters sometime during the day. So you can see in your textbook on the page number 89 and the figure 9.12. Continue watering the plant for a few days. Does the plant grow upright like plants out in the open? Note the direction in which it bends if it is not growing upright. Do you think this may be in response to some stimulus? So you have to find it out by doing this activity, whether it will respond to the changes around them or it will not respond. So what you have to do, you have to take the potted plant. Then what you have to do, little bit you have to keep it away from the window through which sunlight will be entering only for the some time. Then you have to continue watering and all everything as it is, and after a few days you have to see whether the plant will grow upright or like it is when it is kept in the open outside in the garden it is grown, or there is difference in the growth, whether it is bending, the direction in which it bends, or it is not growing upright. So this you have to observe and write the observation. Okay, so now today this I have, okay, let us recall today what we have learnt. Today we have learnt about the characteristics of the living organisms. Living beings are made up of cells. Living beings obtain and use energy. Living beings grow and develop. Living beings reproduce. Living beings adapt to their environment. So today we have studied only a few characteristics of the living organisms. Which are those? The first one was, first we had studied the difference between living and the non-living things. Next we had studied that organisms need food to grow. Then next we read about growth, how the living organisms will grow. Then we read about the organisms respire. Then how the organisms respond to stimulus. Then we have studied about, we have done one activity also. So what all? Characteristics, nutrition, growth, respiration, excretion. So now the remaining I'll be taking it in the next class. So children, I think all are reading the lesson, seeing the videos, then writing the question and answers. So till now 3 periods I have taken. Still one more period I need to complete this chapter. This chapter is long. So every day after each video questions are sent. That questions you have to write in your classwork. See the video and write those questions in your classwork. Okay. And then every day you please read and keep it. Now as soon as the lesson is over, you will be given the activity to do as well as the question and answers to write. Slip test will be given. It will be mentioned there. This is a slip test. You have to write the slip test. Okay, so please be learning and read the spellings, especially these organisms, stimuli. These spellings you have to stress. Spell it again and again. Excretion. Now you see here, you have to spell it and then write it 2 to 3 times, learn and then write it. Okay, then here you have the definitions also. Some of the definitions also are given. Keywords means nothing but those are the definitions. You have to complete it. You have to pronounce those words, see the textbook and write the definitions. Many questions already what we have given in that it is there. So if anything is not there also you can write it by seeing the textbook. Then whatever question answers are given in the exercise for you all, fill in the blanks are there, match the following are there. Then you have the list of living things, non-living things. Then all these question answers. Now after the chapter is over, you have to write the fill in the blanks, see the textbook and write it. And you have tried to answer all the questions. Orally you can write. So any question is given in this chapter, you must be able to write it. So please read the lesson and complete every day's questions and learn the question and answers. And this tomorrow is Friday, Saturday is Children's Day. Happy Children's Day. Enjoy your day. You will be not send classes won't be there on that day. You will not be having the videos to watch on that day. So you have to enjoy your holidays. And Monday you have Deepavali, so enjoy your festival also. So these 3 days you will not be getting the videos. You can enjoy your holidays plus, but you have to complete your work also. After that, from Tuesday onwards, you will be getting the classes. You will be getting some of the extra classes also. Not only 3 periods, instead of that you will get, we are going to adjust for the next week. Okay, once again, happy Children's Day. Enjoy your day, children. Study well. Be safe, be at home, and enjoy your festival. Be far from the crackers. Don't go very near to the crackers and all. Happy Deepavali to all the children. Thank you.